Hi everyone, I'm Paul.
And I'm Rick.
And this is Nerdslant Rebel Underground. So this week on Rebel Underground, we're going to be talking about the newest episode of Star Wars Rebels Through Imperial Eyes. A very literal title.
Super literal. Because you literally start the episode looking through the eyes of Agent Kallus, who, spoiler alert, is an Imperial.
For those of you who hadn't been watching up until this point, we're very sorry and we apologize for you not knowing that Agent Kallus was in fact part of the Empire. We apologize. We're very sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It was very fun having that first-person view. You didn't know for a split second who actually we were seeing through the eyes of until that great moment washing his hands. And that look on his face when he's staring back at his own reflection like, oh, God, same shit as always. Well, that very familiar warning music is blaring. If you remember, the end of Return of the Jedi is the same sound that was blaring when the Death Star was crumbling in on itself.
It sounds like two orcas mating.
And last week, when we got the synopsis for Through Imperial Eyes, it made it sound like this was going to be a coordinated rescue of Agent Kallus, aka Fulcrum, with the Rebels, but we found out like really quickly that that is not how this was going down at all.
Yeah, this was not planned. This was like a surprise. Like Ezra shows up and Kallus is like, "Yo, bro, what's the dealio? We think your homies in the Empire were listening in, so we kind of got to get you out of here."
Your dad, he's really not happy about it. Also, he has blue skin, red eyes, and he wants to kill you.
And he fights robots for fun. Speaking of things that were really cool in this episode, we actually got to see a couple of characters that we don't usually see in action, kind of like strutting their stuff. I'm talking about Governor Price and Admiral Thrawn.
Thrawn, when he's fighting those assassin droids,
yeah.
I was not expecting that kind of combat. He disabled, actually, their safeties at one point in the fight.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect either one of them to be, like, combatants at all. Like, both characters kind of always came across to me as more, like, diplomatic, administrative characters, you know what I mean? Like, sure, they probably knew how to defend themselves, but damn, homies can fight!
Homies can fight. So, prior to Disney purchasing Lucasfilm, Thrawn was actually a character in the expanded universe, and basically the same kind of person that he is now, just a slightly different backstory and in a slightly different timeline. Thrawn's appearance in the extended universe was after the conclusion of the original trilogy. Now he's appearing prior to the beginning of the original trilogy. But really, in the extended universe, you never saw him fight like that. You know, not like all like, whoa!
No, he was like a man possessed. We saw him take out the battle droids like one-handed with like, you know, the blaster, like... He even turned it sideways for the first
yeah,
time.
He did. He did it very gangster style.
Yeah.
And Price, too, to her credit, holy crap, she beat the ever-living hell out of Rex.
I know, which is, like, shocking. Like, a combat-hardened clone commander. If it wasn't for, you know, Imperial intervention, like, who knows how that would have ended.
From List. It's List, by the way. It's not List. It's not Lisp. It's List.
So yeah, I kind of felt really bad for List in this episode because he kind of got, like, overshined by, like, this really epic mustache battle.
Yeah, we got the return of Lieutenant Mustache, I'm not even going to bother with a name, who you will remember, for those of you who have been following the show from the very beginning, as the original nemesis of the Rebels when they were on Lothal, who then kind of got bounced around from position to position. And then when he comes in this episode, he gets completely outdone in terms of facial hair by Colonel Yularen.
Yeah, he's like, that's cute, you think you have a mustache. Take 5, Junior. Let the real mustache show you out, son. You know, if you want to add some more bars to that insignia, you gotta grow some facial hair, Liz. Starts here. At
the very least, a soul patch man. The primary focus of this episode was the struggle between Agent Kallus and Ezra as to which one of them had the better plan to get off of Grand Admiral Thrawn's Star Destroyer, which they unwittingly ended up on instead of Agent Kallus's light cruiser. Now, Ezra believed the entire time they should have gone with the original plan, even with a slight hiccup in the whole thing, whereas Kallus thought that he knew better. He essentially used List as a patsy in order to distract Thrawn, whom he knew at this point was honing in on him as being Fulcrum. And while it looked like that actually happened towards the end of the episode, as you talked about last time, you really can't get things over old, ancient alien space wizards.
No, you really can't.
Everything that Thrawn does is essentially, how can I use this to my personal advantage?
Yeah.
He allows people to escape. He lets people think that they're winning. Because he's always playing mind games, because, as we've said, he's the greatest chess master.
I believe Agent Fulcrum will prove far more useful to the Empire than Callus ever was.
Callus, he's still trying to like manipulate the situation, still trying to be in control, not knowing when to say when.
Well, and it's arrogance, but it's arrogance that comes from a good place. He has the right intentions. There's that moment towards the very end of the episode, Callus can get on the Imperial shuttle with everyone else and escape, but he thinks he's made this perfect, neat little ribbon.
Right.
That's made it so that there is no attention on him whatsoever. Everything is now on the list, and yet everything he's done, as you were saying when we were watching the episode, step by step by step, it was just Callus playing right into Thrawn's trap the whole way through.
I will say this, the only thing I do think they got over on Thrawn is when they reprogrammed the holomap. I don't think that Thrawn knows exactly what planet was erased and what planet was replaced.
At the very end of the episode, the only thing that we knew for sure was the fact that Thrawn now knows with complete certainty that Callus is Fulcrum.
Yeah.
If Bridger was the shuttle thief, why didn't Callus alert us?
Because, Colonel Yularen, Callus is the rebel spy, Fulcrum.
We don't know whether or not he is now aware of the actual location of Chopper Base, because the man is very much attention to detail. Do you think he's not going to notice that one of the only 12 marked planets is suddenly missing and replaced by a different one? I think he's going to know.
Without the ability to access what that planet is, he's going to have to start a whole new campaign of surveying the systems in that area to figure out what is the real planet, what's the fake planet.
Like, you have the ability to, jump to light speed, go between planets that are light years apart in just a second, but you don't have a Control Z? Really, Thrawn? Really?
You don't know his
Really?
life.
Real? And that might explain the teaser we received for next week's episode, The Secret Cargo, which showed Hera, Ezra, Chopper, and Zeb in the Phantom with all the systems turned off in a field of debris and an Imperial probe closing in on them, which, by the way, as Zeb has pointed out before, he hates probes. In fact, everyone seems to hate probes. Zeb hates probes, Chewie hates probes, Han hates probes, I hate probes. Do you hate probes?
I mean, there was that one time in Tijuana.
And this is, like we were saying before, the crescendo of Act 2. And now we're moving into Act 3, where we're going to be getting the lead-up to the big fight on Chopper Base. It's going to be pretty awful.
We were aboard the shuttle when it was stolen.
Shout out to my boy AP5 for that fantastic Marvin impression from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Voiced by the late, great Alan Rickman.
His mannerism, his voice, everything about him just screamed Marvin.
Including the misery in his voice. Anytime he was saying anything,
Yeah.
Oh, this is a terrible idea. None of this is going to work.
It just screamed Marvin, and we love that.
I've been talking to the ship's computer, and it hates me.
So thanks for tuning in, and join us next week when we break down The Secret Cargo. But signing off for Nerdslant Rebel Underground, I'm Paul.
And I'm Rick.
And remember, if you're watching this, you are the rebellion.
Sarlacc!
What?
Ah!
Ah!